Shabbat Shalom umevorach, buchim habayim. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This week we'll be reading Parashat Mishpatim. And we know last week's Parasha, Parashat Yitro, we spoke about Matan Torah, receiving the Torah, the Aseret HaDibrot. And this week it speaks about Ve'ele HaMishpatim. Rashi tells us, what's Ve'ele, what's the Vav? That just like the Aseret HaDibrot, the 10 commandments were given on Har Sinai, so too all the rulings in this week's Parasha, which there's 53 commandments in this week's Parasha alone, is also and was also given on Har Sinai. Chachamim tell us the Parasha in Parashat Yitro ended off with the halachot of Kohanim. And it said, the Torah said that when Kohanim go up to the Mizbeach, they should be careful and not take big steps. They should take small steps, because if they would take big steps, it will not be tzniut, it will be immodest, because they used to wear a dress. But the question is, how is that connected to the Mishpatim of this week's Parasha? Because we know there's a connection if that ends off and starts in this week's Parasha. Another question is that later on in Parashat Terumah and Tetzaveh, and specifically in Tetzaveh, when it speaks about the clothing of the Kohanim, we know that they used to wear a certain pair of shorts / pants that they used to make sure that was covered everything. So what did it make a difference if they took small or big steps, if they were anywhere wearing shorts under their garments? So Chachamim tell us, Rabotai, over here, that there is a connection. That just like Kohanim shouldn't take big steps to go up because it's immodest, so too Mishpatim speaks about, in the middle of the parasha, of judges, how to judge people, how to judge Am Yisrael. They also should be very careful to not take big steps, to not jump to conclusions. Part of modesty is taking small steps, and being a judge, especially in the Jewish nation, you have to be careful not to jump to conclusion, to think things thoroughly. What connection to us, Rabotai? We have to understand that to achieve the wealth of the Torah, to achieve the knowledge of the Torah, it doesn't take big steps. It's about the small steps. Someone could say, I want to start learning. Let me learn 5 hours a day, 10 hours a day. I want to learn Gemara, Mefarshim. I want to know all the halachot. But he has to understand that the Torah is so large that you have to take small steps. And if you take small steps, you'll be able to achieve much more in the Torah, especially when Chachamim want to come and give halachot and say, I know this halacha, I know that halacha. You have to be very careful. When the Chachamim gave us halachot, especially today, the Shulchan Aruch, all of the current Rabbanim, and the Rabbanim, the great Chachamim in our previous generations, they didn't just say, oh, the Pasuk says A, the Gemara says B, so C, obviously this is Asur, or this is Mutar. They sat and learned hours and hours to see how can we connect this halacha to this Pasuk, and to this Gemara, and maybe this Kal V'chomer, and maybe this Derash. Hours and hours, because you have to go through it thoroughly to really give a halacha. So we have to understand how vast the Torah is. And we all want to learn Torah. It's a mitzvah to learn the Torah every day, and we all want to be knowledgeable in the Torah. But we have to realize that we have to take it slow. You have to learn something that you like. Learn a few minutes a day till you get more advanced. And how the Torah works is not how smart you are. It's the more Torah you learn, the smarter you get. People think, I'm not that smart, so I can't learn that much. Rabbis are much smarter than me. No. The rabbis, or the person that's much smarter than you, is because he sat and learned Torah for so many hours and years. In Pirkei Avot, it tells us that there's 7 different things, traits that Chachamim have to have. And just to list a few of them is to think the halachot thoroughly. You can't just throw out and say halachot. To have to be slow in your thought, to realize what you're going to be saying next, to not have ga'ava, to not think I know everything. Another one is to say I don't know, how important it is to say I don't know. Rashi, Rabotai, there's a few times in the Torah, Rashi has an answer to everything. He only asks questions when he has, after saying the answer. But sometimes Rashi will say a question, he'll say I don't know. That's a great chacham. There's many rabbis today that everything you ask them, they have an answer for. That's not good. You want someone who's real and genuine. If he has a question, you have a question, he says, I don't know. It's good to say, I don't know. Because A, it keeps us modest, it keeps us humble. And number 2, so we don't know everything. The Torah is so big, the Torah is so large. So we have to realize from these Pesukim, from the small steps of the Kohanim, from the Shoftim in this parasha, the judges, to judge people favorably, to take things slow, to take thought of everything. And Be'ezrat Hashem will be able to grasp the whole Torah Kedosha. Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach.